I think are important to your success. Um, and then we can have a conversation afterwards because I really want to hear from you. I want to hear questions. You've had wonderful panelists and people who have led you. So be grateful and also take note of these individuals because they will be absolute gems, treasures, and resources to you. Marcella, Nasha, Elise, Rashida, look to them because they know how things run. They know where the money and treasure is buried. And they also know where you can get some free stuff on occasion. And as grad students, remember when it's free, take 3. And Leah, I can't forget Leah, my favorite Leah. So the first is, as graduate students, you bring a tremendous impact to NC State University. I don't think you understand how impactful you are to the financial aims of the institution, the research aims of the institution, the teaching aims. But I want you to think about this. NC State operates on a budget of over $1 billion in terms of their research and operational expenditures. Without graduate students, that number would be cut drastically and dramatically, simply because as grad students, your time here is inundated with classes, but you also conduct research and world-class research on top of that. You teach classes, and many of you will be teaching assistants. And imagine if we put a figure to every one of your hours. Oftentimes I've been asked, what's my hourly rate? And I'm in my PhD and I still don't know my hourly rate. Right now, it could be a box of Skittles and a free Starbucks gift card if the day is right. But your hourly rate as grad students is somewhere upwards of $15 to $20 an hour. So think about every hour that you put in conducting research, conducting teaching, tutoring, advocating for the institution. And if we added a dollar amount to that, you would potentially have the GDP of the state of California. So know your worth. Know your worth as grad students. Know your worth for all that you give back to this institution and all that you do for the institution. Know your worth and take nothing less than that. You're valuable. You are absolutely irreplaceable. And oftentimes people will try to make you feel less than. Not anybody on this call, but individuals that you may encounter in your classes or in your programs. But know your worth and know your value and how much value you bring to the institution. The first really big thing I want to talk about is advocacy. We're all advocates. We're advocates for people that we know, people that we don't know, people that look to you when you're riding the bus and they see all the great things that you're doing, or they hear the way that you talk and the passion in your speech. Advocacy is big, especially for grad students, because you need advocates. You have to be advocates. Now, I don't think anyone on this call would say that they all got here alone. If you think to your entire educational journey, your entire journey growing up, making it to this point in your life, I'm sure that you can identify 1 or 2 people who served as advocates for your life. Think about those individuals and think about the influence that they had on your life. Now also think about the influence that you're having on all the individuals who come after you. The foundation that you're laying for those individuals. So advocacy is big, not just in receiving, but in giving. So I ask that you be advocates and that you stand as advocates. The greatest advocate that I've ever known in my life was one of the greatest advocates, is extremely stubborn. He's 77 years old. He grew up in a time of sharecroppers, and he will be the first one to tell you, I don't know what the hell you're talking about, and to get out of my office. And that was my former supervisor, Dr. Lee Stiff. Dr. Stiff, great man, and wonderful mathematician, went to NC State, Duke, and Chapel Hill, and served 40 years teaching at NC State. And he's at least his dissertation chair. He recently retired, and he told me that no matter how much you grow, no matter how successful you are, your success can be measured in money, it can be measured in influence or impact. But one of the most important things that you need to do is to remember to advocate. Advocate for those who are coming after you, advocate for those who are standing next to you. And he said to me this one thing in his own words, I'm not going to say what he said because I value my job and I like paying daycare and my mortgage. So he said, while you stand in the shoes of everyone around you, you can at least stand beside them. You can advocate for them when they cannot speak. You can advocate for them when they cannot hear or when they cannot see. So be an advocate for yourself and for those around you because your influence extends so much farther than you think. So advocacy is a big thing that I think that you have to go for. Look for advocacy. Be an advocate. The next big thing that I really want to talk to you about is health and wellness. And some of you are like, what? What's that? I'm in grad school. I'm supposed to stay up 3 days at a time and drink nothing but coffee and Red Bull. Don't do it. Your health and your wellness is important. As grad students, you are working 20-hour assistantships, but I want to put 20 hours in quotes because in reality, you're passionate about your work. So you're going to work 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 hours because you want to see the impact of your work and the influence. But your health is paramount to you. You can only do so much. And my favorite analogy concerns glasses of water. And if we were in person, I would have glasses of water to demonstrate this, but it's a pandemic, we're virtual, and also I don't want any spitting in my water. So if you're a vessel of water, and every student that you work with, every community that you work with is also another smaller, equal sized vessel, round, square. It could be a dodecagon of vessels. My math people know what I'm getting at. You can pour into these vessels every day. Pour your knowledge, pour your passion, pour your heart into these vessels. But if you're not pouring into yourself and you don't have someone pouring into you or a community, then you'll end up empty. And that empty feeling is what leads to diminished health, diminished lifespan, a lack of passion. So take care of yourselves. Your health is important. NC State has been here for a long time. And long after we are here, they will still be here. And they will not, for a moment, stop all operations if one of us falls, scrapes a knee, gets a headache, or has to take a break. So make sure that you're putting yourselves and your own health and wellness before it all. So that's your physical health. Many of you are your full-time students, right? Guess what? You pay a health service fee and you have access to world-class healthcare on campus. If you don't take the time to go and take advantage of it, well, I'm going to tell you about yourself, but you are setting yourselves up for failure. So take care of your physical health because your physical involves your person. Eat right, get sleep, drink plenty of water. Please drink water. Go to the doctor. Some of you, when I was in your shoes, I was like, I ain't going to the doctor. I have an Adonis complex. I'm healthy. I can walk a mile. I can climb a hill. I went to school in the mountains, so I walked uphill both ways in the snow in August. But I refuse to focus on my physical health, and I'm asking that you focus on that. Focus on your mental health. That's important. It's extremely important because your mental health affects your physical in so many ways. Take care of yourselves. And my master's degree is in counseling. And I always tell my students, my friends, my colleagues, my mentees, if you don't have a good counselor, it's time to find one. You may not think that you need to talk to anybody, and it may not be now, it may not be tomorrow, but take care of your mental health and have someone that you can talk to, a professional. You all need an outlet, and it's always good. And as Black and brown people, oftentimes we don't want to talk about it. Our culture has been one in such that we diminish counseling and we write it off as a fake pseudoscience in some ways. So I ask that you take the time, use the resources afforded to you, and get a counselor. If you talk about nothing but blueberry muffin recipes, still talk about those recipes. But have someone that you can depend on, someone that knows what you're going through. And if you need recommendations, we can make recommendations. I have a counselor that I talk to every couple of weeks. Oftentimes, I'm talking about sports. I'm talking about I cut my finger, this or that. I have 3 kids. So sometimes I just want to cry to somebody, but it's good and it's normal. The other is financial wellness. How many of you are going to be rich on your grad student stipend? Anybody? No, I didn't think so. Because you're grad students and we expect you to take this vow of poverty. And that's what it is. You're taking a vow of poverty for 2, 4, 7 years. Some of you are like, maybe. Your financial wellness is also attached. So be mindful of your finances. Be mindful of where you want to go and the things that you spend and the things you invest your time in. Your finances involve your money and also your time, because your time matters and your time counts for something. Here at the university, there are financial planners and whatnot, but if you don't, find you a good financial planner or someone to talk about with your finances. Take care of your finances and don't try and live a life that you know is not sustainable. I hate to see grad students struggle, and oftentimes you will hit areas where your car breaks down, where this bill is due, where you got to buy medicine, and I don't want to see you do without. So take care of yourself financially, and when you don't have it, talk to somebody. Ask us. There's an emergency fund that us full-time employees and some of our grad students pay into. We give $5 here, $10 here, $20 here, and it's for you. And oftentimes when I look at the dispensation of those emergency funds, they go to individuals who don't potentially need it. I was on the bus one day and I heard a group of students say, well, I applied for the emergency fund. I got $1,000. Oh, what'd you do? You know the new Nikes that came out? So yeah, these were undergrads. I'm not going to go back into their profile, but they were undergrads who apparently didn't need it. So take care of your financial wellness. The next piece is community. Who is your community? You're looking at them. There are 39 of you on here now, but then your community expands. Build a community that is supportive. Build a community that appreciates you for being you. Build one that is going to be there, that's going to advocate for you, that's going to keep you in check when it comes to your own health and wellness and prosperity. Build a community that values you as an individual. Your community is going to be one of the more important aspects that associates itself with your success here. Neither of you is an island. And if you feel like you're an island because you are untouchable and you're great, recognize that you can be that island, but be an archipelago. Which, for those of you who are geography people, you're like, I get it. But those of you who are not, that was the word of the day 2 days ago. An archipelago is a collection of islands. And these islands can connect with bridges, they can connect with boats, but they're still connected. So be the island that you want to be, but have your connections, have your community. Your community is academic, it is personal, it is professional. Build your community out, because in times of struggle and times of strife, your community will be there to support you. So have that community and look to establish communities and build out and build upwards. Your community doesn't have to be one group. It could be multiple. It could be overlapping groups, but your community and your organizations will help you to weather whatever storm that does come about. And you're coming here and starting in the midst of a pandemic, 2 pandemics, a viral pandemic and a racial pandemic, and a lot is happening. A lot of ambiguity. You get emails daily. Wash your hands. Don't use this soap. Actually use this. Stand 6 feet. No, it's okay. You can come and be in class together. So I say use your community as a sounding board. Use your community as the foundation for which you continue to build. And as your community strengthens and it grows, reach out and bring other people into your community who are in need of that support. So continue to build that, because as much as what you know is important, who you know is also very valuable. And as your community continues to grow, you never know what individual on this screen will be there to help you get a job in 3 years, help you to buy a house in 10 years, who will be at your wedding, who will be at your this, who will babysit, who will dog sit. So build that community and take value in knowing that that community is is and can be the lifeblood of your time here. Accountability is my next kind of pillar. I really should have built these as pillars. So accountability is one that I want you to take to heart. Who are you accountable for? I know it's like hard. Yeah, Kelsey, you got it. You're accountable for you. You're accountable for your significant others, your children, your pets, your pet fish, Dorothy. Sesame Street reference. I've been watching a lot of that during the pandemic. Um, you're accountable for you and your actions, but oftentimes you may feel that you're accountable for the success of the individuals around you. Not to say that you shouldn't be, but be accountable for your academic and your personal successes. Be accountable for your health and your wellness. Be accountable for your community. Hold each other accountable. You have your groups, so create opportunities to hold each other accountable. Many of you didn't start your program as a cohort. You started as individuals within your program and you will matriculate on your own. And oftentimes that gets lonely. You'll look to your left and your right in your classes, and you'll be the only face that looks like yours. You'll be the only individual who comes from the area where you come from, that has the background that you have. And that's hard. It's challenging. It's lonely. Because in a world of beautiful black and brown faces and in between, it gets extremely lonely and hard to be in a room that is supposed to be progressive, that is supposed to be accepting and inclusive, and yet you are still alone. So create groups and create opportunities to hold each other accountable for self-love, self-worth, for making sure you do your work, for making sure you're taking care of yourselves, making sure that you're eating, making sure that somebody is checking in on you, that you're checking in on each other. I believe that another strong force can be accountability groups. I'm in my 30s and I have accountability groups. I have people that will text me in the middle of the day and say, "Hey, you drinking up water today?" And I'm like, you know what? I didn't. So let me go ahead and chug these 2 bottles. It may seem very simple, but having somebody there who cares about you just as much as you care about you is important. So be accountable for your actions, be accountable for your responsibilities, be accountable for your own health and wellness. The next pillar is relationships. And I know some people are like, relationships, that happens in grad school? I'm not talking about necessarily the personal relationships, but I am. Who knows? Grad school is up there. You never know who you're going to meet in grad school and what relationships will come from it. All I say is invest in healthy relationships. Healthy relationships, one with your advisor. Your advisor is your make or break. They are your unfortunate and assigned ride or die. So throughout your entire graduate process, they are going to stick with you, whether you like them or not in a lot of cases. Your advisor has considerable influence on your success. And that's unfortunate because one person should not be able to dictate how successful you are and can be. I'm working on trying to get that pulled back also. So with your advisor, really with this, I want to talk about what happens if you don't have a great relationship with your advisor. If you don't, what do you do? In this situation, you talk, you ask, "Oh no, I don't teach any classes at NC State. I've been trying, Keontae, I've been trying. But sometimes you have radical views, and if they ever let me teach you, it's over. It's a wrap. They never let me do that." But sorry to digress. Your advisor, in the event that you ever have a negative experience with your advisor, I want you to talk. I want you to ask questions. I want you to be vocal. My mother is from the south side of Chicago. She don't play, but she used to live in Alabama. So she definitely don't play. But she would always tell me growing up, a closed mouth don't get fed. So if you don't talk about it, don't expect somebody to save you, period. So if you're in a bad situation with your advisor, talk to someone because we know the ways, we know the intricacies of how to get out of that relationship. Also, With your advisor can open doors for you. So recognize the benefit of that relationship. Recognize how that relationship can manifest to become something so much greater than you ever imagined. Some of you may be in this undergrad mentality where you're like, your advisor just advises you for classes. That's it. If you're in a research-based program and you have aspirations to be a researcher, to be X, Y, or Z, look at for what your advisor can do for you and bank on that. Also, make it a reciprocal relationship. As much as you get, give. A lot of you are like, what am I going to give to this established individual who's been teaching or a pro in their field for 20 years? You give them a breath of fresh air, a breath of new life. Oftentimes, your advisors are antiquated and they're old. So when you go to them and you talk about your preferred pronouns, they're like, what? I don't understand what that is. When you go to them and you tell them, oh, this is the newest method of connecting with individuals, and they're like, well, I have the Facebook. And you're like, well, hey, it's 2020 and you might want to maybe hop on IG or something. So teach them as much as they teach you, because you all have something valuable to say. You have something valuable to teach. So don't undervalue yourselves. Personal relationships. My best advice with that is approach them and only deal in healthy relationships. Grad school is hard, and personal relationships on top of grad school can get even harder. So if you are going to do it and broach that, please, please, please invest in the healthy relationships. And if you're not in a healthy relationship, that's why you have a counselor. Talk to them and let's get out of it. And if you need me or Elise or Nasha or Renata to pull up, I'm down. I keep a baseball bat in my office because at any given time you can have that and it's not considered a weapon. So invest in healthy relationships. The next is network. Network, people. Please network. Again, not what you know, but who you know. Who you know can open doors for you that you never thought even existed. So network, talk to people, talk to everyone. Everyone on this call, you should be talking to them, creating either a group me or a WhatsApp group just to continue to network. I have people that I went to college with who are working in the senator's office, who worked with the Commission for Education with President Barack Obama. And I'm like, can I get a job? Can I have some disposable income? And it opens doors. The last piece for the relationship aspect is self. You need to have a relationship with yourself. You need to love yourself and you need to know yourself. And if you don't know who you are or what you want or what you want to do, it's time to it's beyond and past time for you to do some introspection, because you are important and you should be the most important individual in your life. Some of us have children. We're like, no, I love my kids. I love my kids too. But if I can't love myself, how can I truly love someone else? If I can't take care of myself, how can I take care of someone else? So have a relationship with yourself and recognize the benefit and importance of having a self relationship, to know what you like and what you don't like, to be comfortable being vocal about those things. My last pillar is something that I've mentioned before, and that's asking for help. Ask, talk. You have voices, you have narratives, and your narrative is so important and it's so powerful. When you were growing up, how many people looked like you in the areas that you wanted to be in? Who did you idolize? Who did you go to for advice? Oftentimes, you went to individuals who didn't look like you, or maybe you didn't have that opportunity, and you weren't able to ask for help. So what I'm saying for this is ask for help. Ask the person next to you, ask the person behind you, ask your community, ask your advisor. There are resources, plenty of resources here at this institution that are here for you that you will never be aware of. So don't struggle. And if you see somebody struggling, advocate on their behalf. Not to say you got to be all in their business, but If you see them struggling, we have resources and we have reporting structures there for you to advocate for them. So take care of one another. Ask for help and offer help. That should be it. I want to wrap up my diatribe and dialogue, or my monologue, I'm sorry, with some lessons for new grad students. And these are lessons that I've kind of worked on since starting. You can find my book on Amazon. It'll be published in about 3 to 7 years. So when it comes out, buy my book and buy one for your cousin and your community. First lesson is, if you want to be a faculty member, a researcher, an administrator, a leader, you should start working for that job on day one. So don't aspire to be in that position, be in that position. Start with your research, start with your writing, start networking, start advocating, join organizations, because you are preparing for life after grad school, starting with day one. The moment that you accepted admission, you needed to start preparing for life after. So be in that space, be in that place. My mom would always tell me, fake it till you make it. And I do that now as a writer and a researcher. You talk to me, I'll throw on my bow tie and I will pull out my pocket watch and I'm gonna fake it until I make it. Sometimes you'll be like, yo, you're not real, that's not real. And you caught me. But other times, confidence is high. You're never gonna catch it. The next lesson is, if you're a graduate assistant, make your time work for you. If you have an RA, a TA, a GA, make your time work for you. And I say this to say, if you're a TA and you're sitting in class, listening to your professor lecture, instead of just sitting there, sitting back like, I know all this stuff, look at these undergrads, they should be lucky I'm here. Take that time to develop and hone your own teaching skills. Prep for the lessons that you're going to teach. Learn from your professor and how they teach. Offer some constructive feedback. Learn what they do wrong and what you want to do different. If you're a regular graduate assistant, think about the life that you want to live and where you want to be, and start putting in aspects into your current GA-ship that help to prepare you for the next step and the next job that you want. And if you're a research assistant, this is where the whole ask for help and to ask part comes in. If you're conducting world-class research on material sciences or anything at NC State, and you're writing papers and you're doing lit reviews and your name isn't on it, you're doing a whole lot of things wrong. This goes back to that contribution. So if you're doing the research, you get recognition for it. Expect recognition. And if they don't offer it, ask for it. And if they're not going to give it to you, then it's time to have a conversation about maybe switching labs. And if you can't do that, let's have conversations further about how you can further your own research agenda. You should come out of your GA-ship better prepared for the next step and ready to hit the ground running. The next lesson is write articles, not term papers. In every one of your classes, every semester, you're going to have to write a paper. It's going to be substantial, research-based paper, and do not write it as a paper, write it as an article. Because then when your professor gives you that feedback, you then take that feedback, make the changes, and submit it for publication. I'm seeing heads nod. Some people are like, oh, I didn't think about that either. And then in my doc program, 3 years after finishing, I'm like, I could submit this for publication. So now I have all these publications and I've been sitting on them. So if you get yourself in the mentality of writing articles and not term papers, for those of you who want to be researchers and faculty, you've already hit and jumped over that one big hump. The next lesson is start publishing early and do it often. So look for opportunities to publish your narrative, publish your story, publish your research, publish your writing. It doesn't have to be in a high-level journal. It could be a book chapter that's peer-reviewed. It could be an op-ed. So look for opportunities to share your narrative, because you never know what little Black, brown, or in-between child is reading those narratives, reading those op-eds, who's potentially coming from where you came from. and how your words, your presence in certain spaces could motivate them. So publish and present early and often. The next lesson that I have is one that I cannot give you any type of magic bullet. I don't know the solution that is a snap of the fingers, but it focuses on imposter syndrome. Everybody familiar with imposter syndrome? It's real. We all have it. I have it. You have it. We all have it. And the only way to truly combat imposter syndrome is to do a bunch of the things that I talked about. One is to advocate for yourself. Next is to take care of yourself and your health and wellness. Hold each other accountable and hold yourself accountable and create relationships. Imposter syndrome in higher education is really pretty much created by your institution and the culture of that institution. So instead of breaking you down and telling you that you're not ready, we should be building you up and telling you that you are wonderful and you're fantastic and that you belong here. So I can say for myself and for every other individual who is a full-time employee or a returning grad student, that you will never have a situation amongst those around us where we will be breaking you down. We will always build you up. We will always celebrate your accomplishments and celebrate all that you are and who you want to be. And this is part of that community aspect. So celebrate yourself and build a community that values you. And this is one way to help you combat imposter syndrome. And when you feel like you don't belong in a space, take a step back, recognize all that you've come from, recognize how valuable your worth is, and recognize that you belong and that you are blazing a trail and that you are opening the door for so many other individuals. And if you're like me, you open that door and you kick it off the hinges and you welcome everybody else in with open arms. I feel like I've said a whole lot and I can get there and keep going, but I want to give you an opportunity to talk. I want to know, what do you want to know? I mean, you've had wonderful breakout sessions. You have wonderful panelists that have shared so much. So I'll wrap up my monologue with saying, please use me. Use me as a resource. I'm not in every one of your colleges, but if you ever need anything, talk to me. Send me an email, Instagram, tweet, stop me on campus. I'm not one of those pretentious individuals, and nobody on this Zoom call is, where I'm not going to make the time, find the time, create the time to talk to you. There are 24 hours in a day, and I sleep 6 of it. So I got plenty of other time to talk to you and to support you, as does so many people on here. So what can I do? What questions can I answer? What do you want to talk about? Because I'm not going to be the only one talking here. Nothing. No questions. No. Probably stuff in the chat that I'm looking at a big old number on the chat. So y'all been going crazy.
No, thank you, Dr. Jackson, or Jay, I should say. We do have folks with the ability to unmute yourself. So if y'all would like to unmute yourself and ask your question, or there is a question in the chat, best way to get in contact with you. So Jay, I don't know if you want to drop your email.
Yeah, let's go ahead and put this in here.
Perfect.
Don't you hate WID emails? They're like, mine is horrible.
And then someone wanted to know, what would you say is the most underutilized resource on campus?
Ooh. The fact that I would ask every one of you, if you have 10 minutes at any time today, tomorrow, is to get online at NC State's website and look at the student fees, the tuition and fees that you pay. Because you pay them. You pay a fee for so many things, and you don't utilize half of them. Marcella put in the NC State libraries. Yes, I want to talk about that one, because one thing, that there's a research librarian for every one of your colleges. This librarian's job is to help you conduct research. You can set up an appointment for next week and say, I'm researching chinchilla fur and its rise to prevalence because of hip hop culture. And they will go out and find research to present to you for your paper. So by virtue of doing that research consultation with the library and then setting up a time to go to the Graduate Writing Center, there's no reason why you should not be getting an A on every paper that you can take home, every paper, and you should then be submitting those for publication. Another resource that I would say students underutilize, health services. There's a nutritionist on campus. There's a dental clinic on campus. There is doctors for your OBs on campus. You have, there used to be a masseuse on campus that you could go see with your health service fee. You didn't have to pay anything extra. And students so underutilized them that they got rid of them. A masseuse. But now they're bringing a chiropractor on campus. So utilize those. You pay a gym fee. That new gym, that new rec center, let me point that out. That new rec center, your predecessors paid for and have been paying for, and you will continue to pay for throughout your entire time. So if you don't set foot in that new rec center, if you don't have a couple games of dodgeball against the students that you advise, specifically the undergrads, because when they piss you off, you can throw dodgeballs at them and it's not assault. So if you don't utilize these resources, then you're wasting it. And I'm a firm believer that when it's free, take three. Anything that the undergrads get, you get. So when they're selling discount T-Pain tickets, because who's T-Pain anymore? You can go and get those. When they're giving out free stuff on campus, go and get those. Because if you don't go get them, what I do is when I know they're giving out free gear, I dress down and I get it. So if you don't want to take it, I will take all of yours. Where are my mugs at? I got mugs, I got shirts, I got everything. T-Pain is a legend. You know, you've just been kicked off. All right. No, you didn't. So
other people's yums, okay?
Water bottles are dope too, because the ones from MSA are like,
you already have like 6.
You're right. And I still collect them. I got 2 in the office, 2 at home. I got 2 in the car. You never know.
They're durable too.
Right?
I still got my one for freshman year, man. 6 years strong.
Let me show you what you get in the college.
The best commercial for MSA water bottles.
This is what I got in the college bed.
They can give you cancer.
MSA's is metal. Like,
you know, we're gonna get you right with the hydration. Okay, we're gonna get you right with the hydration. Double walled insulated stainless steel tumblers.
And it doubles as a weapon. Anybody sneaking up on you when you're walking around on campus, you getting hit in the head with that. Yeah, they're beautiful. Other questions, comments, concerns? I'm running this like a staff meeting. I'm sorry.
We will make sure that y'all get all the things. Panelists, yes, we will get you a water bottle. You let me know. I'll pull it out, hold it for you. Anything for you, Elise?
Dang. See that type of treatment? That's what happens when you build a community.
We got to get Jacob Jacobs a newer water bottle. He has the joint from 6 years ago. So
100%. 100%. We're going to get you right.
Campus Smiles, wellness coaching, absolutely. Someone put in the chat, the ombudsman. This is a lawyer, non-biased lawyer who can advise you on anything and almost anything. When you get into some criminal stuff, we don't have to talk, but talk to them because you pay. Student legal services is valuable. If you are in an apartment situation and you got a slumlord and you need to get out, they will look through they'll tell you about the law in North Carolina. And I've advised several students who've been taken advantage of from community members and put in these horrible situations. So talk to them, but also do not diminish the power of your voice as a student. The only reason this university exists is because of you as students, and your name carries weight, your voice carries weight. So in the event that you feel like you are not being heard, speak up, and let's talk about avenues that that you can get to where you are heard. When the chancellor, usually in the semesters, he does like a lunch with the chancellor throughout the semester, sign up to go. 1, go get that free food. 2, go put your beautiful melanated faces in front of the chancellor. That way he knows you and he at least recognizes you. Because if they're going to use your faces and your likeness to promote diversity and inclusion efforts across campus in pamphlets and brochures and on websites, make sure that your voice is also heard as much as your face is seen. Anything else? Are y'all ready? COVID fall? Also, for those of you who are all in remote classes, heck yeah, I still got candy. What you talking about? Got the basket ready. So those of you in remote classes, I would encourage you to truly, really reach out to build that community early. That way you feel some sense of connection to the university. This will help you with retention and feeling like you actually belong. And it helps with imposter syndrome. You're important. And don't feel like I'm just gonna sit at home in my PJs every day. I also do like just general coaching. So, and I don't charge students. Now, if you're a full-time employee, you got disposable income. I'm looking at them. Then I'm gonna have to charge you because daycare is due on the 1st. So if you need something, say something. I don't think y'all have anything else to say, do you? You just want to get off here so you can go enjoy your Thursday.
Hey, I have a clarification question. So you did your PhD at NC State and then you became an employee?
Oh, no, I forgot to tell you. So I did my bachelor's and master's at Appalachian State University in Boone, North Carolina. So I know what it's like being a person of color at a predominantly white institution. 20,000 students, 500 were Black. Of that 500, 320 were student athletes. So I get the question of when I got to campus, what sport you play? Can't be football. Can't be basketball. You must run track. I'm like, yeah, run all over your mother's face. Get out of my. But I did my PhD at the greatest institution in the South, part of the SEC, Louisiana State University. Go Tigers. Yeah, I know. I'll stop. Fanfare. Best football team.
Here you go. No.
Y'all can get NC State football tickets, 10 for $1.
Ain't nobody going to that.
Right. But you get them for free. So I would say at least go to one. At least one. I go for the tailgates because it's a good spectacle. It's always interesting. Gotta hate. We're just talking facts. But
That
thank
football team is the University of South Carolina Gamecocks in the SEC.
Go home, Nasha. They're not even the best in the state. Calm down.
Oh.
Those fighting roosters. I tell you, man, got to be scared of them.
There's a great book. I'm sure y'all have heard about it, The New Plantation.
Just gonna go on
college football. So let's start there.
Dang, that's what we're doing. So
no, ma'am.
Hold up.
No, ma'am.
Don't get me started on whose land it is now.
Anyway,
at least we're about to not be friends.
Don't get me started on whose land it really is now.
Well, y'all, as you can tell, our MSA community is always ready for a fun argument, a familial banter. So we appreciate all of you. I'm just gonna go ahead and say, we're out here. It is 1:33. So thank you all for your time. If you would like to stay, please do. Please hang out with us a little bit longer. But for those of you that do need to leave, I saw some of y'all have other Zooms, have other things. So thank you all so much. Rashida, did you want to say anything as we close out? Thank you, Dr. Melvin J. Jackson.
Yeah, just thank you to everybody who participated. Thank you to the panelists. Like Leah said, we will make I can't stand you. We will make sure that y'all are taken care of and get your gifts accordingly. Thank you, Jay, for coming in, speaking some knowledge and wisdom to us. Lord have mercy.
Let me go get my rooster. Let me go.
We appreciate it. As far as the participants, the incoming grad students, please feel free to reach out to us. We are here for you. And like I said, even though I am not a student anymore, I'm still here for everybody that is at NC State. And so feel free to reach out to me and to Marcella, yeah, and Nasha and Leah and anybody on this call. We're all here to help you. Jay is definitely, I mean, just to like take some weight off of your shoulders. He's definitely a resource to just be able to talk to, get a few laughs, all of the things. So yes, if y'all have questions, let me know. And if not, y'all have a great day and we will see y'all later.